What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Joni Mitchell as we continue through Ladies of the Canyon 1970. Hello, Luca. Thank you again to Nikola, as well as to Mark and others who've been commenting along this journey. Have you decided where you are going to set up shop? Yes, she has. And the next tune is Blue Boy. I don't quite know what to make of it. Blue blood or some other phrase using blue, I would have more insight to or into in advance. But yeah, Blue Boy, I don't quite know how to read that. Certainly blue as an emotional or psychological color is often a concept and a visual invoked, but here I just really don't know how to read the simple two-word phrase and there is no additional context, so let's give it a listen and see what I can pick up. This is Joni Mitchell. The song is Blue Boy, and it's from her 1970 album Ladies of the Canyon, though once again Nikola has provided the 2021 remaster of this album.
Lady called the blue boy love. She took him home, made himself an idol, yes. So he turned to stone. Like a pilgrim she traveled to place her flowers before his granite grace. And she prayed aloud for love to awaken in his face, in his face. Oh. Sometimes in the evening he would read to her, roll her in his arms and give his seed to her. She would wake in the morning without him and go to the window and look out through the pane. But the statue in her garden, he always looked the same. He looked the same. Bring her boots of leather and she will dance for him. Shyly from a feather fan she'll glance for him. Here he comes after midnight to find her again. He will come a few times more till he finds a lady statue standing in a door, in her door.
What a lovely little tune, a shorter one. I feel like that was maybe 3 minutes long. In fact, under 3 minutes. Secondarily, I feel like her vocal performance here, it's a bit heightened. It's not terribly different from a lot of other songs I've heard from Joni so far, but it definitely feels a bit more, again, heightened or intense, although maybe that's an overstatement of the word intense. But yeah, a lot of her songs, it's like she's just kind of breezing through the vocals, still, very elegant, very beautiful, but it's more of a relaxed kind of delivery. Here, she's kind of on the edge, and there's even that one line where she extended, and I kind of tried to indicate this through the gesture, but it was like she pushed it as far as her breath, as far as her lungs would take her, and to the point where you could feel her voice, running out of fuel, so to speak. So it feels like there's a subtle intensity. It feels like a contradiction or an oxymoronic term, but nevertheless, that's what it sounded like to me. lyrically, I'm torn because I feel like there may be metaphor or at least simile happening here, and yet it feels also very like literal and visual. It's like she's talking about this man who, is in front of her, but then like after he came, he turned to stone, he became a statue, and then he's telling her a story or reading to her, which implies someone who's alive and vital. But then again, like referencing him as a statue, and then she's looking out the window at a statue in her garden that doesn't change, and by the end, it's like the statue's in her doorway or something like that. So, yeah, I feel like maybe there's commentary here on the character or the disposition of this individual who maybe at times is warm and human and inviting and sensitive, and maybe at other times a bit stiff or cold or indeed stone faced, and she's trying to express that dichotomy or that spectrum of disposition in poetic language. Maybe, there's something happening here that's not only related to this guy, but is like maybe there's like a third part. Maybe he's like a statue that is in the garden, and she's using that as an analog for him. But yeah, like I said, it like at times I was like, oh, this is more poetic and metaphorical. Oh wait, but like it seems like she's really talking about him being in proximity in a tender moment where he's reading to her in her room as she lies down and so on. So yeah, I don't quite know where it all lands, but I feel like that's happened a lot with Joni's songs, where I get a sense of what she's saying. It's not like I'm having a terrible time understanding the words, but figuring how it threads as a narrative or as a life experience is not always easy, and I do look forward, of course, to the insights that Nikola, Mark, and others may offer. I do very much enjoy the piano playing here, very, beautiful, and it's not terribly forte, but it's not super light and delicate either. It was, again, in this melodic atmosphere, which I guess is the perfect accompaniment for this subtle intensity of her vocal performance. So basically, another artistic and very engaging tune from Joni. Do let me know what you think, and Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.